However difficult the path, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. In Buddhism, hope is not simply a fleeting feeling but a deep, resilient force that drives us to persevere through life's challenges. The teachings of the Buddha remind us that even in our darkest moments, there is always a way to rise again. Life's storms may seem endless, but the stillness of hope allows us to find calm amidst them. The story you're about to hear is one of transformation, of moving from despair to hope. It teaches us that even when we feel like giving up, there is always something within us that can ignite the flame of hope, pushing us forward. Buddhism has countless stories where individuals find strength in their weakest moments, and each story reminds us that hope is a constant companion on our journey through life. Meet Kito, a young boy who once had big dreams and aspirations. However, as time went by, life became a series of disappointments. His efforts always seemed to fall short, and the world around him grew darker. He felt trapped in a cycle of failure. His friends moved on to success, while he struggled with feelings of inadequacy and hopelessness. One day, after a particularly difficult day at school, Kito sat alone under a tree, overwhelmed with despair. "What's the point?" he thought. "No matter how hard I try, I always fail." He felt like giving up on everything: his dreams, his future, and even life itself. It was at that moment that an old monk passed by. The monk noticed the boy's troubled face and asked, "Why are you so troubled, young one?" Kito, too exhausted to hide his feelings, shared his pain. "I try so hard, but everything I do ends in failure. I've given up hope," he said, his voice heavy with sorrow. The monk listened quietly for a moment, then spoke softly, "Do you see that lotus flower over there, young one?" The monk pointed to a small pond where a lotus flower bloomed in the sunlight. Kito looked at the flower and nodded. "Yes, I see it. It's beautiful." The monk smiled gently. The lotus flower grows in muddy water. Its roots are buried deep in the dirt, and it faces the darkness beneath the surface. But despite this, the lotus rises above the mud, and in the sunlight, it blooms into something beautiful. "Do you think the lotus ever gives up?" Kito shook his head, intrigued but still unsure. "But the mud is so thick and the water so dark. How does it survive?" The monk explained, "The lotus does not resist the mud. It does not despair because of it. It simply grows through it. Even though the lotus faces the challenges of the mud, it doesn't give up. In the same way, we must face our challenges without losing hope. The darkness of your struggles may seem overwhelming, but just like the lotus, you too have the strength to rise above it." Kito sat in silence, reflecting on the monk's words. For the first time, he understood that his struggles were not permanent. Like the lotus, he too had the ability to grow and transform through adversity. It wasn't about avoiding the difficulties of life, but about learning to rise above them, just as the lotus rises above the mud. The monk continued, "Hope does not mean that you will never face challenges. It means you will keep going despite them. Even when it feels like there's no way out, remember that just like the lotus, you have the potential to bloom in your own time. Do not let despair cloud your view of the light that is always there." From that day on, Kito started to see his challenges in a new light. When he faced failure, instead of giving up, he reminded himself of the lotus. He understood that it was through overcoming struggles that he would grow stronger and wiser. Little by little, his mindset shifted, and he began to see small successes where before he had seen only setbacks. It wasn't long before Kito's life started to change. His academic work improved, and more importantly, his confidence grew. He still faced challenges, but instead of being paralyzed by them, he approached each one with renewed hope and determination. He understood that hope wasn't just wishful thinking. It was a powerful force that came from within and propelled him forward. Have you ever felt like Kito? Have you ever faced a moment in life where it felt like all hope was lost? Remember, no matter how dark the road may seem, there is always hope. Just like the lotus, you too can rise above your struggles. Take a moment to reflect on how hope has played a role in your own life. What challenges have you overcome, and how did hope guide you through them? Feel free to share your experiences in the comments below. Let's inspire each other with stories of hope and perseverance. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out my other videos on personal growth and inspiration. Together, we can all bloom like the lotus, no matter the challenges we face. Remember, just as the lotus blooms in the mud, you too can rise through adversity. Keep moving forward and let hope guide your path. Life is not about avoiding hardships, but learning to bloom despite them. Thank you for watching, and may your journey be filled with peace and hope.